However, when people buy more goods, factories need more resources, and the US once again turned towards the doctrine of the Western Hemisphere to find those resources. In 1898, the USA went to war with Spain when Cubans started a revolution. The US won the Spanish-American War in just 4 months. Cuba officially became independent, but the USA used their military to threaten Cuba into doing whatever they wanted. Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines, however, came under direct US control, granting them even more ports in the Pacific to refuel their ships. However, this war showed a significant flaw in the US strategy. Their navy was split between the East and the West. The only way to go from one side to the other was to go all the way around Argentina in the south. So, in 1903, the USA began constructing the Panama Canal in Panama. In exchange, the country of Panama would gain US protection and would essentially become part of the US sphere of influence. When the canal finally opened in 1914, it became one of the most strategic locations in the world. This was part of something called the Big Stick Policy, which they announced in a document called the Roosevelt Corollary. In it, President Theodore Roosevelt stated that the USA would use military force to stop any future European colonization of the Americas, that the USA had the right to monitor and intervene in the political affairs of any country in the Western Hemisphere, meaning basically North America, South America, and most of the Pacific. This policy was exemplified by President Roosevelt with his quote, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." The Europeans could keep the colonies they had, such as the Netherlands and Suriname or the French in French Guiana, but the rest belonged to the USA. As a result, the 20th century would see a massive increase in US interventions in Latin America. The only exception was Canada, which accepted US protection willingly in 1902, turning them away from the UK and towards the USA.